Yo, what up, people? Thank you for tuning in. Super excited about this series. It's not perfect right now. We're in a room that echoes, so you guys may hear an echo as I stated in my last videos. But this is the first podcast that I just kind of want to do long form conversations just about things that I've learned along the way, just in business and in life. So it's been so dope for this last year of being able to kind of work with a lot of you guys with helping position your brands, your clothing brands, your different businesses and companies and stuff like that. And I just think that I can be providing so much more value about doing stuff and talking about my experiences, right? Stuff that I've learned along the way that could only be learned by experience. And I think that it's so important. You get a lot of people nowadays that talk about all they show on social media is their successes. All they show is the stuff that kind of looks glamorous and looks good and fun. But it's just, that's not the reality of things and the things that people go through in starting a business. And I remember when I was coming up, we had limited kind of, we started in 2005, right? So there wasn't a lot of content out there around people building a business. People were kind of secretive. They didn't really want to share stuff. They didn't really want to be able to put content and put stuff out there, and especially talking about their failures because, in fear of that may, mess up some of their current business or stuff like that. And so I just want to take a different approach, right? I just want to share more of the real unfiltered conversations about, how we've started, right? And where we are. And so in today's episode, I want to talk about the top 5 biggest failures and how I bounced back from them, right? I want to talk about what that meant for me, kind of the mindset that it put me in as far as just kind of losing confidence in myself, feeling like, am I really built for this? Is this something that I really should be doing and really putting my time and energy into it? And how do you fight that ego of I'm not, it's not working right now, but do I quit? Do I keep going? I think that's so, I think it's just so important for people to understand that, because we live in a time where you see social media, right? You see all these people winning and you see these highlight reels. I don't know who said it, but it was a quote that somebody said, that you're comparing somebody's highlight reel to your behind the scenes. It's not real. It's not realistic. It's not. It's not true. You see a lot of these people that just, you post what's good, right? You have filters, you have the right moments, but you don't see behind the scenes. And I think what it does for entrepreneurs and different people coming up is it makes you feel like you suck, right? Like, damn, I suck. Why am I not? Why is it working for them, but it's not working for me? But you don't see the struggle. You don't hear about the stories behind all of the stuff to get there. And I think that's what's so important to be able to showcase, right, and to tell, because it's real. You went through it, and I think being transparent and being honest is very important. So again, this podcast is more so of just kind of long form, me having conversations as if I was sitting down talking with you one-on-one, right, and kind of opening up and getting vulnerable and talking about kind of the mindset that I went through and some of the challenges that I went through. And I think it will help so many of you guys to be able to put that together. So let's start with the failure number 5, right? We'll start from just things that I've learned from a long time ago, and then I want to build up to most recent and kind of share that and talk about the failure, talk about what I learned from it and how I bounced back to be able to readjust and try it again. So the first one that I want to talk about is not being a team player, right? I think this is so important in building any type of organization, any type of company, any type of community, any type of kinship with anybody, right? It's all about community. It's all about being a team player. You can't accomplish anything alone. You cannot. And so I think the thing that was hard with me is when we first started, I started with my 2 best friends, and it was kind of an interesting dynamic because I took on a lot of the risk, right? We had set up our business in my garage, or my grandfather's garage. My mother was the one that put up the majority of the money, and so I was fully vested in it, right? And that wasn't that was just the opportunity, right? That was the opportunity. It kind of worked out, and we had the place to set it up, and we had, everything kind of in order to be able to do that. And so this was in 2005, and so, I was, I think, 20, well, when we first started, when we actually officially set it up, it was in 2008. We started off airbrushing in 2005 in the garage, but we hadn't got any equipment. We were just kind of messing around. I mean, it was an actual legitimate business. Like I worked at the movies for like a month, and I was able to quit my job because we were making so much money with airbrushing. It was able to support, me, right, in a living. And so I just remember in 2008 when we were getting everything set up and we got our first screen printing equipment, we set up in our garage. I just remember it was hard having being in a position where I never went to management school, right? I'd never been a manager. I never had to like manage people or even just be on a team and lead a team like that, right? And so it was kind of weird because the structure was, we were partners. We came into this where it's like we kind of were coming into it all together, right? And just having this vision and saying, hey, we're going to build this business. We're going to build a screen printing company. Then we're going to take the money to invest into our brand. And it was an interesting experience because I think with the way that I kind of positioned it, we were going through, it was a lot of pressure on me, right? Because my mom put up the money, we're in my house, like we're doing all this stuff. So I had to kind of get serious, and I think they didn't feel the pressure like I did, right? And so, which was understandable. They couldn't because I was taking all the risk. And so but instead of articulating that and instead of understanding that, I expected them to feel the same pressure that I felt, right? And I wouldn't communicate that well. Like I wouldn't like sit down and like communicate like, yo, I'm struggling with this, or I need help with this, or can you do X, Y, and Z? It was kind of more so of just like, yo, like why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? Why? It wasn't healthy, right? It wasn't a healthy way of building a team and an organization where it was like I was always barking at them all the time instead of saying, okay, look, let me see what I am doing wrong, right? Let me see where I need to step my game up, and let's collectively talk about how we need to do that, how we need to get better, because there's a goal in mind that we need to hit, and what is it that we need to do to get there, and how do we collectively as a team get better? I didn't do that. I didn't communicate well. I just kind of pointed the blame on them instead of taking responsibility for stuff that I was doing as well. It was just easy to see, yo, you guys aren't doing this, so blah, 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 blah. And I think it just wasn't healthy. It wasn't a healthy environment. It wasn't something that was necessarily something that I would want to work in either. You know what I mean? So long story short, it was kind of hard because it went from building this team with, my best friends. We were building this, we had this idea, we wanted to do it. It was like more so of like, it started off as fun and kind of like got into a point where it was like, yo, like we're about to build this business out of nothing, right? And it was in 2008, entrepreneurship wasn't like cool, right? It wasn't like what it is today. And so I remember a lot of people telling us like, you need to go to college and you need to figure this out and you need to, I don't know why you're trying to start a business, that's stupid. But we had a goal in mind, and I was determined to see it all the way through and turn it into reality. And so I think one of the biggest failures was being able to not being able to keep those partnerships alive. Sometimes things happen where you have to shift and you have to move, switch gears and stuff like that. But I think, I think everything happens for a reason, right? I think I'm here for a reason, they're where they are for a reason, but it's a matter of like understanding that, if I was able to keep the communication open, if I was able to do that, if I was able to delegate a little bit better, how would everything turn out? And so, I asked myself all that time, and I remember just of like not delegating, trying to take things on myself and make sure that, look, it's not going to get done right if I don't do it. And I just remember, like, you can't build a team, you can't build an organization, you can't build nothing with that mindset. And it cost me a lot. It cost me a lot. It took a long time to understand that and to understand the importance of having a team and trusting your team and making sure that your team is prepared and making sure that your team has everything that they need, and then taking a step back and letting your team execute, not micromanaging, not being able to overlook people and just be like, yo, you need to be doing this, this, and this. It's like, how do you set up goals and be able to put people in a position to win? And I think that has been one of the biggest things that I learned, and a big failure of mine, of just like not communicating, right? Not communicating, not being able to keep the things going, not to be able to delegate, not being able to take responsibility for my actions. It's one of those things where it's like, it's not sexy to say, but it was true. You know what I mean? It's like, we all have failures, right? We all have shortcomings, I mean, and it's just a matter of like, where are your shortcomings, and being able to admit it, and being able to find a team and find people that complement where you're weak at, right? Somebody maybe has a strength where you're weak, and being able to understand that and communicate, right? Communication is key. It's something I'm still working on to this day, but I just think that as you guys are building your teams out, right? A lot of you guys that follow me don't have a team yet, right? You're just by yourself and you're figuring out. That was one big question about like, how do you build out a team? I think it's just a matter of understanding that communication is the single most important thing that needs to happen and needs to take place within, as you start building out your organization and being able to find people that fit. You know, you're not going to be able to hire the best people because you don't have, in the beginning, because you don't have the cash flow, right? You don't have the money to be able to do it. So you have to make work with what you do, but making sure to communicate that vision and to be able to do that. So I think, again, I would say that was one of my biggest failures, is not delegating soon enough, not being able to put people in positions to win, and expecting people to do something that they weren't necessarily built for, right? So my mentor always said, you can't teach a bear to fly, right? You know, bears do what they do, birds do what they do, right? And so understanding that, being able to identify that in people and saying like, the good thing about being an entrepreneur, a good CEO, a good manager, is finding people's strengths and putting them in positions to win, right? That's the thing. It's about, how do you collectively get to where you need to get to faster, and how are you able to put people in positions that they're going to be able to succeed? You know, it's not teaching a bear to fly. So I would say that was one of my biggest failures that I wish I would have learned early, but it's just a matter of, you just get better, right? You just get better, you just go. If you're really in the game, you don't have time to be on the sidelines like criticizing yourself, because you're actually in the game working. You know, I can't stand people that are on the sidelines that aren't even in the game, that got a bunch of stuff to say, and it's like, you're not even in the game, so your opinion is irrelevant, right? Like, you get a lot of people that you're fearing of, you know, maybe you guys are fearing somebody judging you, right? Judging you and saying, you know, trying to watch you fail, or you know, criticizing every move. But if they're not in the game, if they're not doing stuff to move forward, like, why are you even listening to them? Why are you paying them attention? You know what I mean? Like, they're literally, like, people that are winning, people that are in the game don't have time to be criticizing you, leaving negative comments, leaving dumb stuff, talking mess, like, because you're busy playing the game. So just when you think about that, just don't worry about, you know, don't worry about what other people think. Don't worry about, like, if you fail and what are people gonna say? Like, it doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. It does not mean nothing. So that was, I would say, number 5 of just, you know, just learning to build a team and communicate and delegate. Number 4 is going to be, this one was hard, right? This failure was hard. It was more so of an actual, like, public failure, right? This was like my first big public failure. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kickstarter, but Kickstarter is a platform that allows you to set up a campaign, right? So you set up a campaign and you have a goal. So say you want to reach, so for instance, our goal was reaching $20,000, right? We wanted to raise $20,000 for doing everything different because we wanted to launch the brand. We were doing the screen printing at the time, but we always wanted to kind of position and reposition into the clothing company, right? The clothing brand. And so, I just remember, like setting this campaign up. we were trying to raise $20,000, and the thing with Kickstarter is it's all or nothing, right? You either get the 20,000 and you raise the 20,000, or you get zero, nothing, and then it says campaign failed, right? And so I just spent so much time and energy putting into this Kickstarter campaign, and I was like really excited. I got all my friends and family on board. I got all, like, everybody. We rallied up everybody for this campaign, like everybody, to try to make some noise and try to start this thing. And I remember it was going off good. I was like, man, we about to kill it. I'm like, we about to get, $100,000. We're gonna raise this, and it started going off good. It started going off, and then it was a 30-day campaign, and I remember we were getting to like 20 days, right? Or we had like 10 days left. We were like 20 days in, and we only raised like $5,000. And so I'm thinking, damn, like, I don't know what we're gonna do. And I just remember like just feeling embarrassed because everybody was like waiting and watching, and literally like that $5,000 was all like family and friends. Like it was all people that was close to me. It was nobody donated, right? And we did such an elaborate stuff. Like we sponsored the radio station, and so we did Summer Jam, and we passed out flyers at Summer Jam, and we went to Wild Jam and we passed out flyers, and it was over 30,000 people. We had our logo on the Jumbotron. Like it was crazy. Like the marketing was dope, right? We were like, it's gonna work. And it didn't. It didn't work, and it failed miserably. Like I think the final number, I don't even remember how much it was, but it was something. It was just something bad, right? It was like, I think we raised $6,000 out of the 20,000, and it said not successful. And I just remember it was such a public failure because I had everybody knew about this campaign, especially, and when I say everybody, I mean like everybody that I know, right? Like apparently everybody outside didn't know about it, but like everybody that I knew, all my friends, like everybody knew about it. And I just remember like just feeling like such a failure when it failed. And the whole thing with doing everything different is we wanted to do something positive, right? We wanted to like really push a positive message. We wanted to really push out this positivity. And I was just like, man, nobody's like supporting this. And so I had to like question, like, man, is this even worth it of like what we're trying to do? And I just remember since 2012, we always pushed, and actually longer than that, like 2010, 2011, something like that. Like we were always pushing this positivity of doing everything different. And I remember like people laughing at me. I even remember one of my business partners was just like, man, ain't nobody trying to hear that positive stuff. And I just remembered I just would never waver. But this failure of this campaign really had me second guessing it. I was just like, bruh, like it's just stupid. Like why are we doing this? We just need to put stupid stuff on shirts like everybody else is doing and just sell it and just whatever. But I just remember telling myself like, man, like you gotta just stay patient. Just stay patient. And it was very hard, and it was a while ago, right? So I don't remember the exact mindset of like what pushed me over to just kind of keep going. But we ended up, we were trying to raise the money to start the clothing brand. But we were making money with our screen printing business. Our screen printing business was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It just, my heart wasn't in there. We had our own manufacturing facility. We were printing for a bunch of different companies and stuff like that. But my heart wasn't in it. That's why the whole purpose of starting the Kickstarter campaign to like kickstart doing everything different. But I was just like, man, I guess nobody's rocking with it. Nobody really likes it. And I just remember I had to just like, I kind of went into this just this like depressed, negative space where I was just like, man, I'm gonna just be in this manufacturing facility. I'm gonna just be doing this. I'm gonna be doing this. And I just remember I was talking to my mentor, and he was just telling me like, man, you gotta be thankful for what you got. Like we had a successful business, like things, like we were able to support ourselves. Like I've not relied on somebody to give me a paycheck since 2006, maybe 2006, 2007. 2007, I think. It was a short time where we got a job, but it was like for 6 months. It was right after my grandfather passed away. It was actually 2000. Actually, it was 2008. My grandfather passed away December 21st, 2007. I got into a depression, I stopped airbrushing, and I went and got a job for about 6 months painting car doors, doing something I really didn't like doing. And then from there, in 2008, in the summer, that's when we really got serious and started our screen printing business. So since 2008, since I left that job, I hadn't relied on anybody giving me a check. And so my mentor was telling me, like, man, you gotta be thankful. Like, that's not like, you know, some people can't get to that point. And I just remember just kind of just meditating and praying and just like, man, just trying to be thankful, right? Trying to stay in a thankful spirit, because the thing is, when you're thankful and when you appreciate stuff, more stuff is given to you, right? But if you just like don't care and don't take care of the stuff that you currently have, that's when things kind of go south. And so, you know, I ended up getting focused. I ended up saying, okay, cool. Like, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the screen printing. We like went all in. You know, we started building the screen printing business. We got like, you know, things moving. We started networking. We moved into a new facility. Things were going great. You know, things were going great. I had to really appreciate what I had and work with what I had in the time. I said, you know what, it's not time for it yet. I said, there will be a time where this will happen, but it's just not right now. So I just need to play my part and play my role in what I need to do until I get to that point. So the thing is, sometimes when you fail, it's not so much of that you're a failure, right? It's not so much of that it's not meant to happen. It's just maybe right now you're not supposed to be doing that. Maybe you need to learn a little bit more of something else, or maybe you have to go through a little bit more of something else in order to prepare you and get set up for that next step, right? And so understanding that wherever it is that you are right now in the process of failure, maybe you tried something and, you know, it didn't work, or maybe you tried something a couple years ago and it didn't work and you kind of gave up on it. Just understand that everything that you go through is a process preparing you for the next level. It's just preparing you for that stuff. And looking back now, I realized that what that was the foundation, right? It was like, that was the first time we tried to run a campaign. We tried to run a marketing campaign, right? And so coming back full circle now, I look back at it because I was able to find something that I loved to do. I loved putting that campaign together, right? I loved putting it together. It was super dope. It was like, I was like, damn, if I could do stuff like that, it would be, I would literally love it. And looking back now, we have a marketing agency where we put campaigns together. So that was the thing that planted that seed of like, whoa, this is something that you're good at. This is something that you can do. So understanding that was the seed, right? And it wasn't time. It was part of a process to be able to put that campaign together. So again, like if you're going through something right now, just understand it's a process. Don't give up on yourself. It's part of it. Like in order to grow, like you got to get stronger, and the only way you're going to get stronger is going through these failures, right? These challenges, these things that are going to knock you off course, and you're going to feel stupid, and you're going to feel uncomfortable, and you're going to feel like I'm a failure. But just understand that the only thing that's going to separate the successful people and the people that aren't successful is the ones that are successful don't quit. They don't stop. They just keep going and they readjust. They constantly readjust. They're constantly taking the information that they've learned and flipping it, redoing it. Like keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. So keep that momentum going, keep going, and keep the process flowing. The next thing. So that was number 4, right? That was like the 4. I would say like a really big thing that I learned. So fast forward a couple years, we moved into a new facility. We're screen printing. We got a decent sized manufacturing facility that does about 600 shirts an hour on one press, and then like 200 shirts an hour on another press. We got a 20-foot gas dryer. We set everything up. We're right across the street from Tesla. We emailed Tesla for like 3 years, or probably like 2 years, right? 2 years, like emailing them all the time. Like we see all these Tesla shirts and we're like, we're gonna get that account. I don't know how we're gonna get it, but we're gonna get it. So we're sending all these emails, and then finally one day I go to empty my spam folder, and I'll never do that, right? I'll never do that. And so I went to go empty my spam folder, and I seen an email from Tesla in it, and it was like 2 days old, and it said something like, hey Devin, I received your email. We have a current vendor that we use, but I would love to talk to you. So I go in there, I'm like, damn, I instantly like message him back. I was like, bro, so sorry, I went to my spam folder. I sent him a screenshot. I was like, yes, when would you like to meet? So long story, we ended up meeting, we ended up building a relationship, we ended up getting a big account with Tesla. Now that was to date. From then on, or from then before, that was the biggest account we ever had. Like, it was a huge contract, and it didn't start off that way, right? It started off with a couple pieces, and then they wanted to do stuff every month, and then it started to build, and it got to a point where we did a project where the Model X came out, and we did a company-wide campaign for them that every single employee, every single contractor got a T-shirt, and so even including Elon Musk, everybody, and it was like a, I don't know, 30,000 piece order or something like that. It was huge. So we're in like literally the best place we've ever been in business. Like, things are coming in, things are flowing. We ended up having to hire like 10 new people. We ended up getting a new facility just to store some of the stuff in there because they wanted it printed front, back, both sleeves, and folding bags. So it was a huge project. But it was just crazy. The profit margins on it was good. It was an incredible account, and things were flowing. It was like I finally had that break. It was like that break that I've always wanted was here. Things were going great, right? 4 months of just sheer craziness, like 12-hour days, 18-hour days of just nonstop. It was insane. And I remember I got an email from the Tesla client, and was saying that, look, we're trying to bring all of our stuff in-house, right? We're trying to bring everything and go through one manufacturer that prints all of our stuff. So even more than what we were doing, they wanted to add more work on it, and they said we want to sign a master service agreement. So it was like a 10-year master service agreement, where basically we would be set for 10 years. Like, we would be set, we would be good, we would have this account, we wouldn't have to get any other accounts. Like, this was it, right? This was it, and I was super excited. We had to fill out an RFP, which is a request for a proposal. So basically, you had to break down your cost and your unit cost and a bunch of like stuff of like putting together a proposal. And they bid out this RFP to different companies, right? And or send it out to different companies, and then the different companies put in their RFPs. And so I remember I never even heard of an RFP. So I'm just like, man, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna figure it out. Talk to my mentor, put it together, put the pricing together. And at that time, I just didn't even have, it was just crazy because we didn't have the team that we have now. I was just kind of really doing it. Like, my mentor was helping me, but I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. And so we put it together. I'm thinking we're gonna be good. You know, I go into the office, I talk to the guy that's, going through the proposals, this, and this. And what I ended up doing is we had a bunch of clients at the time, or right before Tesla. And then when Tesla started picking up, we got so busy that we had to push the clients like kind of off, the other clients. And so it mainly was just like we were printing for Tesla. So we put all our eggs in one basket, right? We put all of our eggs in this one basket. And I remember we were waiting on the approval for the master service agreement. And I was like, man, we got this for sure. And yeah. We didn't get it. We lost it to a company that was larger than us in LA. Even though we delivered on time, even though we were early, even though we would do some ridiculous turnaround times and we were right next door, we weren't big enough. Our shop wasn't big enough. The other one was like, I don't know, $150 million a year company or $100 million a year, something ridiculous. It was a huge manufacturing facility. And we didn't get it. And so the writing was on the wall for a while, and I tried to ignore it. I'm like, oh, somehow we're gonna get it. Somehow we're gonna get it. And I just remember that was one time that I was just like, damn. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, how did I lose this account? You know what I mean? Like, how did I lose this account? And I just remember being so kind of just disappointed, right? I was just so disappointed, so disappointed. And at this point, like I said, we didn't have no more clients. We didn't have any other clients. Like, we kind of pushed them off to the side and introduced them to other shops, and they kind of went elsewhere. And so we had to figure some stuff out. Like, we got all this payroll, and we got this overhead, we got this new office. So we had to cancel all that stuff. We had to lay people off. We were just like, yo, look, like, we can't do this anymore. We lost the contract. you know, we had some money in our savings, but we had to eat off of it because we're like, damn, we still have all, you know, I got employees that like have families that I have to pay every single week. And it was just, it was one of those things where I was kind of, I really didn't know what to do. Like I really was in a place where I was just like, I just really was in a place where like, damn, I don't know what we need to do. So what we ended up doing is kind of diversifying, right? That's when I realized like you can't have all your eggs in one basket. So we took some of that money and we ended up opening a store. So we got another office. It was like a showroom office / store, right? So our manufacturing facility was in Fremont, and then the store / office was in Union City. So we had this kind of, it looked like a old dentist office, right? And so we renovated the entire thing. We ripped out the floors, we ripped out the walls, we changed the roofing, we got some artists to put some stuff in, we got custom like paneling, custom wood stuff. Like, it was crazy. We renovated the entire thing and we had it like as our showroom. And it was super tight. It was dope. It was like, you know, this is the project. This is where we're at. This is what, you know, where we need to go. And yeah, and I just remember setting it all up and then just kind of diversifying the stuff. We ended up, you know, thank God we ended up coming out of it. We didn't have to lose like our main manufacturing facility. We just had to let go of the extra people that we had hired for the project. So it wasn't too bad. But it got to a point where it was a bit of a struggle, right? It was a bit of a struggle. I didn't have any financial help with anybody of just like tracking our finances and stuff like that and looking at what we can spend. It was just something that we were just going on and just kind of just figuring it out, right? I was just kind of like just winging it, and so that was that. But I think what I needed to do from that is we were just able to diversify. From seeing the progress of setting up the store, kind of kept me motivated to keep going. I didn't lose like all my faith on everything. I was just like, all right, cool. It's you know, it is what it is. We're gonna make it happen and we're gonna figure it out. And so we started doing that. I was in the manufacturing facility all the time, and I was just like, I was still feeling unfulfilled, right? It was just, I felt like there was more than I could be doing, right? We picked up accounts again, we got stable. It just got to a point where we were like, just existing. I wasn't like living. I just felt like it was just a space. I was thankful for what I had. I was thankful for what we did, but it was just whatever. It wasn't anything exciting. So in 2016, it was around the time when, so that was number 3, I guess, right? So number 4, biggest failure. And I know this is kind of long-winded, but hey, I just wanted to put it out, and I could chop this up into little bits and pieces, but I know that for me, I like listening to long-form content of just kind of like storytelling and how this stuff goes, stuff that's gonna be helpful. So for those of you that are still listening, hope this is helping. But yeah, so failure number 2, was in 2016. It was the time when, Trump was running, and it was just the country was just seemed divided, and it was just stupid that understanding that most of the time people want the same things. It's just a matter of like communication, right? We just don't talk to each other. We just assume the worst, and we just like get all angry and upset. And I was just like, I was driving in the car with my brother, and I was like, man, that's stupid, man. Like, let's come together. Like, let's be united. Like, instead of being all separate. And he was like, bro, that's what we're running with. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, that's what we should do. And then I was talking about doing a collection for doing everything different, because doing everything different had got put on the back burner because we were too busy in the manufacturing facility slaving. And he was like, yo, that's what we need to do. So I sat down with the team. I rallied my team. I rallied my art director, my creative director, my brother, like all of our interns, like everything. I rallied everybody together, and I said, yo, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna put together a collection of Let's Be United. We didn't know really what it was. And so my creative director was like, oh, we should run it like a campaign. And I was like, well, what do you mean? I didn't really, still, right? Going back to the Kickstarter campaign, I really didn't even know that was really a campaign. I was just like, we're just putting some things together and we're trying to reach a goal. And so for the United project, he was like, yo, we should put together this campaign, kind of like how Livestrong was with Nike and like all this stuff. And I was like, oh, that's dope. I didn't even think about that. So we put this whole extensive campaign together. We took a lot of money out to invest in it. We got some custom packaging. We did this like super nice box that had like layers and stuff in it. And it came with like a t-shirt, a hoodie, a custom poster, a quote book, a wristband, like all of this stuff. And I was just like, man, this is just super dope. We spent maybe like 3-4 months on this project of just building all this stuff out. Mind you, when we were doing this, I took my attention off of our manufacturing business, right? Off of our screen printing and stuff like that. So my production manager was just suffering, right? He was just calling me all the time and like, yo, do we have the production for this order? I was like, oh no, I forgot. Let me send you this. And so I was like trying to chase two rabbits, right? I was just like at the manufacturing facility, which is a whole nother business, and it's 2 locations too. So we're at our office, at our main office working, and then he's at a whole nother facility at our manufacturing facility with him and somebody else, one of our production manager, and then his person that he had there. And so it was just like, we were going back and forth and doing all this stuff, but I was like, I'm telling you, this campaign is gonna blow up. And the whole concept with this campaign was like, not to necessarily make money, right? It was more so of awareness, but I was like, okay, hopefully we could make some money so we could keep this stuff going, right? Not to go, buy a watch or buy something stupid. It was like, no, so we could reinvest into the business and keep the things going. And we spent all this money, put all this time, energy into it, recorded everything, did the little videos of documenting everything, recorded a video, rented out all this stuff, and we released it, but we didn't really understand about social media and how to roll campaigns out. Again, mind you, we just found out that this is even called a campaign. So we put it out, and I just remember it didn't do anything. I mean, it got some attention, right? It got like some people, liked it and watched it and was like, oh, this is needed, this is dope, blah, blah, blah. But I think we sold like 2 shirts, maybe a little bit more. Maybe we sold like 5 shirts, and then like maybe 4 of the packages. No, I remember. It was 6 of the boxes that we sold, and most of those were just close friends and family. And I remember we printed 1,000 of these boxes. Like, we spent so much money and bought 1,000 of these damn boxes that we were thinking we were gonna sell out. They shipped from China. They were in these big, huge boxes. We had to assemble them. They were just taking up space in our office. And I just remember like the second day after we launched, and it just wasn't doing anything. I was like so disappointed. We were trying to push this positive message. We're trying to bring people together. We're trying to start the conversation, like legitimately, like, and this was like something really that I wanted to do. And I just remember, man, it was like I reached out to publications, I reached out to Blavity, I reached out to all these people to try to get article write-ups, and everybody was like, nah, it's cool. We don't really want to feature it. And I just remember I took it so personally. I was just like, bro, like, you don't understand what we're trying to do. Like, we're trying to like really do something different and really like push this message. And I just remember I felt so defeated. I came in there and I told my brother, I'm like, man, this stuff ain't working, bro. And he was like, look, this isn't like let's look at it in the sense of like, this is not what it's gonna do in terms of sales, is what's gonna like the after effects of it. And I didn't understand what he said. I'm like, man, whatever. I was just so upset. I remember going and eating with my girl, and I was just like, man, like nobody, like I'm done with this positive stuff, bro. I'm like done with trying to do this stuff. I'm like, this stuff is it's just not working, man. I'm just done. I was like so ready to quit. I was at a point where I was just like, I really, really wanted to quit. Like I hadn't actually gotten to that point ever before where I was just that done. I was just like, it's just not working. Like, it's just not working. I just quit. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I just quit. The one thing about me is that I'll say that, but I'll never quit. It's like sometimes you gotta like let it out and say whatever it is what you're gonna do. Like, I talk to my mentor all the time. I always talk to him, oh, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna give up. And then he'll be like, all right, cool, you done? Like, it's time to get back to work. And I'm like, all right, I know, I just gotta get it out. So I remember I felt like then the manufacturing was having some issues, and we had took out so much money out of that to put into the doing everything different, thinking that we're going to recoup that money and then be able to put it back, and it didn't work like that. And then the manufacturing was suffering because we weren't giving it the attention that we needed. So literally, both of these rabbits that I was trying to chase were failing. They were dying because they weren't getting attention. And it was just like, I was just like, I'm done. Like, I'm stressed out. I remember I had to go tell my production manager that, yo, your check is gonna be late. And I remember having to go tell him that, and he was just like, he was cool, but he was just like, dude, like, I got a wife, man. Like, we got like rent and we got bills, and I just remember, like, I just left there and I sat in an empty parking lot. Like, I sat into an empty parking lot, and I just said, like, I know I'm better than this. Like, I know I could provide more value to this world. I don't want to just, I just remember telling myself, like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I don't want to be in this situation anymore. Like, I don't want to do this manufacturing. I don't want to do this. My heart's not in it. It's just taking up so much time and energy when I could be putting out content, doing content, working with people, like doing the creative stuff that I love to do. And I was just in a spot where I'm like, but I just don't know nothing else. Like, I don't know how to make money elsewhere. Like, this has been my life of screen printed shirts. That's how it supported me. And I just remember it was a real low time. It was a really low time where I was just sitting in that parking lot, and I was just like, man, what am I gonna do? And so I was talking to my mentor, and he was like, have you ever thought about starting an advertising agency? And I'm like, on top of everything else I'm doing, no, man, I'm not thinking about that. Because he knew how much I loved building out that campaign. He knew how good we were at it, and he knew that it was something that I really liked to do. And so I remember after that conversation, I went home. It was on a Friday that we had it, and I went out with my girl after. We ate Mexican food at Mexicali Rose. I will never forget it. And I was just sitting there defeated, and I was just like, I'm just done. And I went to sleep. And I woke up, and on Saturday, I started searching, what is an advertising agency? And I started to see what advertising agencies do. I'm like, wait, you partner with companies to help put campaigns together, and you get paid to do the creative stuff and help roll out stuff and grow their business? I'm like, for real? This is a thing? This is a real thing? And so I started to do more and more research. I started going down the rabbit hole of like, what is this? Like, this is actually exciting. I'm like, wait, you can get paid to do this? And so after the campaign, and I looked at that, I literally that weekend I made up my mind. I said, all right, we're transitioning. We're turning into a marketing agency. And I said, we're doing not just screen printing t-shirts, because we're way more than that. We can do this for other companies. And we started, I called my team literally that Monday morning. I said, look, this is what we're doing. We're pivoting, we're making a transition. And I remember they were like, huh? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, we're changing the name, and we're restructuring this entire thing, and this entire foundation. And I remember they were looking at me like I was crazy. They were like, what are you talking about? And that's when I started brainstorming some names, and I came up with Curio. I was like, Curio, it's a small collector's item, something that causes curiosity or stuff like that. And I remember I was like, cool, that's like us, right? Where each piece is a custom thing to spark curiosity. So let's spell it weird, and let's call it Curio, and let's get an LLC. And I literally that week, I went and got everything done, and I took action, right? That is the thing. That's the thing that I've learned, is like, you have to take action. When you get an idea, you got to go for it. Don't second guess it. Don't think about it. Just do. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I'm like, we're about to change the business that literally the structure we've had from 2008 to 2016, at the end of 2016, was all just that's how we made our money. And I'm talking about restructuring the entire thing. I said, look, we are going to partner with another shop. right? We were going to partner with a shop that's going to do all the manufacturing, so we don't have to work on the day-to-day printing and doing all the quality control and making sure the inks are set up and scheduling job. Like, that's literally a business inside of itself. So we were running that business, and then we were running the front-end marketing and sales side. Like, you can't do both. It's just impossible. We didn't have the bandwidth. And so, yeah, I went from this low point of feeling so dead inside to actually being inspired again. Like, that campaign failing is the only reason why we're here today doing what we're doing and working with the companies that we're working with and how we restructured the stuff. Because we were able to take the information from that of what we learned, just like the Kickstarter campaign, right? Kickstarter campaign was number one, right? And I remember building out this United campaign, I would always refer back to the Kickstarter campaign and how much we've learned since then. And it was so much better. It was so much better. It still wasn't perfect, of course, because it didn't really go according to plan and we didn't have money to put into it. But it was so much better than the Kickstarter campaign. And I remember each thing, right? It's seeds. You plant these seeds and these seeds start to grow. Maybe it's not time for you to do this right now, or maybe it's something that's staring you in your face and you just got to see it, right? You just got to be able to open your eyes and see, oh, this is what I need to be doing. So with the United campaign, you know, it spawned Curio, and we restructured and we turned it into a full service marketing agency. We got rid of our manufacturing facility, and and which leads me to the number one biggest failure that I thought of that was not really a failure, right? It was a restructuring. Which was when we got rid of our manufacturing, right? We got rid of our manufacturing. We said we waited until we got our first couple clients with Curio, and we restructured. And we said, hey, look, we're getting rid of the manufacturing facility. We're going to partner with people, and it was tough. It was tough. It was not easy. It was not a cakewalk. It was not something that was just a walk in the park. We didn't understand what we were getting ourselves into. We didn't understand what a marketing agency was. We didn't understand, oh, you have to do billable hours now. Oh, we didn't understand, oh, it's going to cost a lot more with manpower. Oh, we have to worry about output and creativity. We didn't think about none of that stuff. We were just like, oh, it sounds good. We just put it together. So I ended up, I just wanted to get out of it, right? We owed some rent on, some back rent from our manufacturing facility. We had just like so much just bills piling up, and I just wanted to get out. I just wanted to get out and start fresh. So I ended up literally selling our manufacturing facility, like selling all the equipment in place, dryer, everything, literally everything turnkey. All you have to do is change the name to whatever screen printing you want, and it's ready to go. And I ended up selling it for a stupid low amount. I just basically said, okay, whatever it is that we need for our rent to get caught up and we can get out of the lease and you guys take over the lease, you can have it. Just wipe our hands clean, you can have it. We ended up doing it. And during that restructure, it was cool, it was exciting in the beginning, but then we got hit with the learning curve, right? And this is like, you know, this was challenging for me. You know, one of our best employees, our creative director, ended up putting in his 2 weeks and leaving, which, looking back, again, it was one of the best things that could have ever happened. But at the moment, I was just like, damn, we're turning into this creative agency and my creative director is leaving. Like, what the hell is going on? And so it was cool. I was happy for him. You know, it was a good gig. I think it was a good position because things were uncertain with us. We were like, you know, we closed the manufacturing facility. We closed our office. We're like restructuring. We're like, oh, let's go to Oakland because we're all the way out in freaking Union City. Nothing's out there. All of our clients are out here. We got a super expensive WeWork office, co-working space, thinking that's gonna be like, cool, we're gonna be in this modern thing. That came with its own challenges. So it got to a point where we had literally 3 standalone facilities. We had our manufacturing facility, we had we had 2 offices in Union City. We had, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full-time employees. And things were good to like restructure and everything, messing the foundation up, going from that to nothing. Like we went down to a new employee that we had, an account director that it was just me, him, my brother, and our COO, and with no office, right? And it was like I went from this big team to like all the stuff that looked good on the front end, right? It looked great on the front end. Like everything looked good. You have a team, you have the office, like everything looks good on paper. The front end office was in order, but the back end office wasn't, right? We didn't have our financials situated. We didn't understand profit and loss statements. We didn't have our accounting up to date. We didn't know none of this stuff. And so we went through a major restructuring phase, like major. And I just remember that I told myself, like, this is what's gonna happen, right? Like, we have to break everything up to rebuild. It wasn't that we lost it. We could have kept fighting and doing all this stuff, but in my mind, we lost all this stuff, right? We failed, this didn't work, I'm a failure, blah, 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 all this stuff in my head. I'm working in a co-working space now. I'm like at home working. It's like, we don't really have a team. It's like, it was just such a weird place to be in. But I knew that this was gonna happen, but I just didn't know what it was gonna look like in detail. So then when the details were there, I was like, oh shit, I ain't signed up for this. And I just remember like being in a space between 2017, the beginning of 2017, realistically through all the way of 2018, early 18, where I was just like in the rebuilding phase, restructuring phase, just trying things out, testing things that worked. And in 2018 is when we launched the Build Your Brand course, right? Last year we launched the Build Your Brand course because I'm like, look, out of all these years of experience, I've helped launch so many different products and brands from Tesla, Nike, we worked with Chris Brown and Pink Dolphin and Kevin Durant, like all this, well, we hadn't worked with, oh yeah, we did work with Kevin Durant, Nike, all these different projects and all these different people. And I'm like, why don't I just put it into a digital product? Like I really wanted to get focused on like putting out content, doing stuff, helping people, like doing the front end creative sales and like really pushing the lifestyle, doing everything different, right? I was like, I don't even care about the clothes. Like I don't even want it to be necessarily like, we'll have merch and stuff that like support this movement and what this doing everything different is. So people could like wear it and kind of be an extension of that. But I want it just to be like, I just want to put the content out, right? I just want to put the content out. And so, you know, it feels so incredible that we signed this year. We've signed, you know, 3 of the biggest contracts of since I've been in business. We got our office space back. We got our account director, right? And our creative director that ended up going to HP came back, and this was his first day back, back with the squad full time. And it's like it's such a crazy, it's so crazy. Like I really, and that's why I really want to put this content out. Like I just want you guys to understand, don't give up. Do not give up, please. I'm looking directly at the camera. Don't give up. It's gonna get hard. It's gonna be challenging. You're gonna be faced with struggles. You're gonna be faced with stuff that's just gonna slap you in the face. You're gonna feel like a failure. You're gonna feel stupid. People are gonna laugh at you. People are gonna think you're crazy. But I promise you, just keep going. Just don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Just keep going. It will work. It will work. I'm living proof here to show you that it works. It will work if you don't give up. And you have to be self-aware enough to know what you're good at and what you're not. But I promise you, it just, with these failures, the reason why I want to put out this content, the reason why, you know, my team, this was, like I said, our creative director's first day back in the office, and him, my brother, our account director, they all went out to go eat. And they asked me to go, and I was like, I don't want to, because I know if I go, I'm not gonna probably put this video out. And I said this video is more important than going out and eating, because we don't know how much time we have on this earth. We don't know what, you know, what tomorrow brings or what the end of today brings. Another thing that inspired me about putting out this content is the, you know, the passing of Nipsey Hussle. Like that was somebody that I really looked up to, and he played a big role in 2018, like when Victory Lap came out and I was going through all of that stuff, like that album played such a big, I literally had that album on repeat all of 2018 since it came out. Literally, ask anybody close to me, they'll be like, you are playing this album out. I didn't care because it was the words that he was saying. I was just like, Kendrick Lamar, minor setback for a major comeback, dedication, hard work plus patience. I was just like, bro, like that was my anthem. I was like, and I was just in my zone. I was just grinding because I said, we are gonna get out of this. Like, I'm gonna get myself out of this. I'm gonna motivate myself to get the hell out of this funk space. Even though I still felt insecure, I still felt like a failure, I still felt like a fraud. I couldn't even put out content without a clear conscience because I'm like, man, I don't have an office, I don't have a team. I started feeling like a fraud. Like I hadn't been doing this since 2008 and really doing this stuff. You know what I mean? It made me feel like I don't have all this stuff to show. So it's like I just feel like who am I to tell people of all this stuff, right? I got a long way to go, don't get me wrong, but the thing is, it's like, if this helps somebody that's in the process of like beginning, like I've learned some things. I've learned some real life things, right? I've been through some real life situations, and if this can help somebody, I think it's so worth it. And the reason why I brought up the Nipsey thing is because I said that he inspired me so much, and I said if his chapter, I mean, his book is done, right? He's not here anymore. Like it's done, right? And we all are headed there. But I thought about it. I said the thing that lives on is the content that he put out in this world. And I said if the stuff that I'm doing could do 0.001% of what that did for me and be that inspiration and that motivation during that hard time, I said, like, I have to put that out. Like, I have to put it out. Like, why else? I just feel that if you're on this earth, you're supposed to be here for a reason. And so that's why I want to put this content out. I'm not looking for anything from you guys. Like, I literally just want to put this content out. And I just wish it was around when I've had content, coming up, like I said, listening to it. And I just want to pay it forward. Literally just want to pay it forward. I just want to let you guys know that it's possible. Failures are part of the process, right? Failures are part of the process in order to go to the next level, in order to be able to evolve, in order to be able to figure things out. Like, it's a process. So no matter where you are in the process, I'm constantly failing every day at things, and it's just a matter of getting better, just not stopping, not quitting, staying focused, and just getting better, just constantly getting better, and always believing in your idea and believing in yourself. And that's the purpose of this podcast, right? I just want to share experiences like that and really break things down. I know this is like a super long episode, but again, if it's one person that this helps, like, I literally don't care. If it's one person that this helps, that made it all the way here and you're listening to it now, I've done my job, right? It was worth it to put it out. I've done it, and I feel good about it, and it's something that, I just feel that we're here, right? And this is the only thing that's going to live on past us. And so, again, I just want to see you guys win. I want to see you guys turn it into reality. I want you guys to understand that, I've been able to come from a place where I didn't know what I was doing and was able to, to turn this into reality. And this isn't even the beginning. We're just getting started. Watch, when I tell you we're just getting started, the foundation that we have now, the foundation of the back end office and the foundation that we've built over since 2017 till now, like, we actually have a foundation to build up. You see what I'm saying? Like, we were trying to build an Empire State Building on no foundation. Of course it's gonna fall. You know what I mean? But now we took all of it down and we laid the foundation down. And now we're starting to build up, just now. So I just watch. Just trust me, just watch. And I want to be transparent with you guys, and I want to show you guys how it works and how you start building relationships and getting these different accounts and doing all this stuff and sharing this stuff, because I know it can help so many of you. I just know I didn't go through this stuff for no reason. So again, like I always say, to get something you never had, you must do something you never done. So I appreciate you watching this. If you liked it, drop a comment below. Let me know your takeaways from this. Let me know of what you've learned and what you're gonna apply and take it to your situation. And if this can help somebody, tag them in it, share it with them, and make sure that you hit that subscribe button. I'm gonna be dropping content like this all the time. Make sure to turn those bell notifications on so you get alerted when this content drops. Hope you guys have a blessed night, blessed day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.